It's worth noting, James Comey's son-in-law, who is, I believe, married to Maureen Comey, his daughter, who was fired from the Southern District of New York, I do believe, is where she served. His son-in-law used to work in the Eastern District of Virginia office up until they indicted his father-in-law, and he resigned in defense of the Constitution. And so I think Mark's point about, look, this is not business as usual. This isn't even politics as usual. The president is weaponizing fear, and fear has become policy. Intimidation has become policy. The only reason Tish James, James Comey, John Brennan, all of these folks are on Donald Trump's list is because at one point, they all stood up to him in a different way. Donald Trump was doing illegal stuff in New York, lying about his square footage of his dang on apartment, and we can all see. Tish James investigated that for the people of New York. James Comey did not do what Donald Trump wanted him to do when he was FBI director. He didn't look the other way. He wouldn't go after Hillary Clinton, even though one could argue he went after Hillary Clinton. That's how Donald Trump is in the White House.
No kidding. We could do a whole episode on that.
He already did you a favor. I'm being tongue-in-cheek, but literally, all of these folks, Adam Schiff, now a sitting United States Senator, he is an individual who literally served as one of the impeachment lawyers and one of the representatives in the impeachment of Donald Trump in his first term. One of the impeachments. He was impeached twice. So I say that to say that the people that he is going after, even in New York, even in Chicago, the folks in Chicago and Illinois, they're standing up to the president. And so now they're in his crosshairs. And I just think that if anyone thinks that this is the climate that you will be safe, you're not. You cannot, silence is not going to protect you here. I think we all have to be just as loud and defiant and unbowed as the people in the streets of Chicago the other night, or Tish James in that video.
No, I agree. How do you I guess for me, at least, I kind of look at some of this and I find it somewhat ironic that at the fact that right now you have the president and his Justice Department going after Tish James because of mortgage fraud. Well, headlines seem to indicate he should be looking within his own camp, because right now, Bloomberg headline, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, like Fed Governor, made contradictory mortgage pledges. Oh, AP headline, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, a Senate hopeful, claimed 3 homes as his primary residence. ProPublica headline, Trump is accusing foes with multiple mortgages of fraud. Records show 3 of his cabinet members have the same problem. This is the reality.
And this is proof of selective prosecution.
And this is proof of...
Come on, lawyer us up, Catherine Christian.
No, go ahead. That's exactly right.
That's part of the evidence that Mr. Comey and now AG James will use, along with all of the public statements that President Trump has made, his social media posts directing Pam, also known as the Attorney General of the United States, to go after these people because of payback. That's basically what it is. It's payback. And what's frightening is it's a way of chilling people from standing up, because it'll be, oh, no, look what happened to these people. I can't afford to be indicted because I can't afford a lawyer. So that's also why it's so frightening what's happening.
It's also frightening because fundamentally what you need is system reform. I'm sure you've seen that Senator Blumenthal, Representative Goldman have put together this sort of architecture for legislation that would up the ante on grand juries, would force line prosecutors to sign their names and say, I actually believe that I can secure a conviction on this, which is difficult when right now Lindsay Halligan is the only one who's willing to sign her name on any of these pieces of paper. But we're not there because there are not enough Republicans who are going to join in that effort to fundamentally reform the system in this moment of desperate need for our democracy. And so instead, we're left to what? Talk about what is the best defense for James Comey and Letitia James. I mean, it feels so small, but in some ways, it is the only way we get out of this current timeline and into a new one.
Yeah, so I think 3 things. I mean, I think, number one, John Heilemann made an excellent point earlier today on MSNBC, in which he said we need to start talking about the Republicans, not that there are insufficient number of Republicans to do the right thing. We should just start with the proposition and the assumption that there are no Republicans to ever do the right thing.
Thank you.
It has been 10 years since Republicans have done the right thing in Congress. And so the news is not that they are not willing to. The news will be if they are willing to, because they're not. The second thing is, it is good to see these legislative efforts. You know, I've written about this, I've spoken about this. We don't need a resistance, we need a new opposition movement. And that opposition movement is going to take years. This is not going to get restored overnight. This is going to take years. And today, those things are not possible.